It is my pleasure to introduce our medalist, Chancellor Merryl Tisch. Please come forward. Merryl Tisch, throughout your distinguished career, you have been a champion of arts and culture and a powerful force in health, human services, and education. You have provided inspired leadership to an impressive range of organizations, from the Trust for Cultural Resources of the City of New York, to the Mount Sinai Children's Center Foundation, to the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. As co-chair of the Metropolitan Council of Jewish Poverty, you have helped to lead one of New York's largest human services agencies that works to meet the needs of 100,000 New Yorkers. With your husband, James Tisch, you have leveraged visionary philanthropy to create 2 facilities that have had a profound impact on New Yorkers. The Tisch Cancer Institute at Mount Sinai Hospital, a premier comprehensive cancer care and research facility that places the needs of patients first, and the Tisch WNET Studios at Lincoln Center, funded by the largest gift in the history of WNET. And you are making history as the first woman to be named Chancellor of New York's State Board of Regents, where you have become an agent of change in public education, which you have described as, quote, the greatest civic issue and civil liberties issue of our time, end quote. With your goal to create better schools for all of New York's children, you have fought for higher standards and for schools to have the supports necessary to achieve them. You have advocated for better measures of the college and career readiness of students across the state. You have sought more equitable distribution of resources among New York City's high schools. Your leadership extends to improving the state's 2- and 4-year colleges, for which you have called for greater accountability and higher standards. As a strong supporter of your alma mater, you have helped ensure that Teachers College remains a leading force in educational improvement. A prime example of your commitment to TC was your early and outspoken support for the Teachers College Community School, the pre-K-8 public school that anchors TC's broader partnership with public schools in Harlem. Merryl Tisch, for the integrity with which you have labored on behalf of the people of New York, and for your leadership of our state's education system, we are proud to present you with the Teachers College Medal for Distinguished Service. Stand to the side and I can take a picture.
Good morning. It's a true pleasure to be here with you for the Teachers College Master's Degree Convocation. We sit here this morning deeply aware of what's going on in Oklahoma, and I ask us all in this magnificent cathedral to bow our heads in recognition of the children who lost their lives, of the adults who lost their lives, and in recognition of the greatness of the teachers who once again, when called to task, used their bodies to shield their students. Thank you. I'd obviously like to thank President Furman, Dean James, and your trustees and officers for the invitation to address you today and for the deep honor of receiving this Distinguished Service Medal. I'd also like to congratulate my fellow honorees, Tom Friedman, Lee Sung Kung. It's truly humbling to be in that company. I'd also like to acknowledge the faculty who, during my years at Teachers College, helped guide me. As Chancellor of the Board, it fills me with great pride to see the next generation of educators and school leaders gathering with your families, eager to put your work here at Teachers College to use, making a difference in the lives of students and your fellow educators. And of course, I take special pleasure in addressing you as a TC alumna myself. As you know, I studied here at Teachers College from 2000 to 2004, graduating in 2005 with a doctorate of education. I really treasure my time here, and I understand, as only a graduate can, what a vital, dynamic, shared learning space this is. Over more than a century, Teachers College has been shaped by visionary leaders, a tradition that continues today. But of course, more than any president or board or professor, this wonderful institution is shaped by you. It's shaped by the ideas that you nurture here, the spirited debate you carry on, and the collaboration you foster. It is that spirit and energy, it is that exchange that is the very essence of what it means to work in the field of education. I was fortunate to make many lifelong and career-long friends here at Teachers College, including a young student named John King, who of course it was my pleasure to appoint as New York State's Commissioner of Education. John and I work closely together nearly every day, tackling some of the most persistent challenges in our system. Challenges I know all of you have studied and followed closely. As so many of my colleagues are, we are guided every day by our own experiences in the classroom. I know that not all of you will be going into K-12 education, and that among your proud ranks today are speech pathologists, administrators, researchers, cognitive and behavioral experts in the making. But the student-teacher interaction, that enduring, powerful bond, is what is undeniably at the heart of the educational experience at Teachers College. And that's as it should be. In a world and a city rife with opportunities to put yourselves first, to emphasize getting rich and getting ahead, you all have made the opposite choice. You have made a selfless choice. Whichever program is granting you your degree here today, you have made the choice to devote yourself to helping young people towards a better life for themselves. Let me tell you, there is nothing more important that you could have chosen. Study after study after study confirms what we all know from experience as student teachers and as students ourselves, that it is the person standing at the front of the classroom, it is the leadership team at the school who make the biggest difference in the lives of children. Looking around us and facing the waves of data that come in, we know that we need to do better for today's students. Far too many of our children are reaching the end of their secondary education, unready for college and unready for the skilled jobs representing the greatest promise in today's economy. Far too many are not graduating at all. Disparities exist in outcomes between racial groups and geographic distribution, meaning that the chance of getting an excellent education, traditionally the great equalizer of the American dream, is now too often an accident of birth. I find that unacceptable. And it's part of the reason I'm so proud of the work we've done to implement Common Core learning standards and the new critical thinking-based assessments that we began to introduce this year. While I know that the discussion of testing and test scores can set off passionate debate, perhaps the understatement of the day, there are numbers we cannot afford to ignore. The achievement gap between students in low-need schools and high-need school districts across this state are glaring. 30% of our high-need school students do not achieve as well as low-need school districts. That's just in English language arts. 25% do not achieve as well as their low-need school counterparts in our math curriculum. When we look at the racial disparities between white and African American youngsters, there is a 25% difference in their achievement. We cannot ignore this. The effect of the Common Core standards is not, as some would argue, to force educators to teach to the test. It is in fact and in practice the precise opposite. By focusing on critical thinking, problem solving, and close reading of text, the Common Core will work to change the paradigm. We need to change that paradigm. No longer should assessments be driving curriculum and instruction. I believe that curriculum and instruction should be driving assessment. I've been incredibly moved over the past years as I've visited with teachers and administrators who are pouring themselves into helping make this change go more smoothly. I know it isn't easy, and I know that it isn't always popular. But what's truly important is that all of us are committed to the discussion. I know that Teachers College is a place that encourages critical dialogue, and I know firsthand that it is a place committed to innovating in areas of clear need. For example, the development of the mathematical thinking course developed here at Teachers College helps devote an excitement and mastery of math instruction, a key priority, especially here in New York City, where from 2006 to 2010, the number of newly certified math teachers decreased by 33%. The Teaching Residence Program puts participants in high-needs classrooms working with students who, because of intellectual disability or language difficulty, are getting left behind in alarming numbers. Teaching residents co-teach and focus on clinical experience and outcomes, much like a medical resident does, and then they put this cutting-edge preparation to work in New York City schools. Programs like these are absolutely vital. Students struggling with English proficiency, not surprisingly, lag far behind their more English proficient peers, not just in English language arts, but in math as well. When it comes to leadership, your Con Fellow programs for distinguished principals helps our city's most experienced, effective school leaders grow and develop. And you've been able to measure success in the markedly higher graduation rates for students in the Con schools. You should be proud of the innovation that has always been a hallmark here at Teachers College, and I hope you will take that same commitment with you as you head to your next challenge, because all of us know that there is so much more to do. I'm incredibly touched to be here with all of you. I know that my invitation has caused some concern, but I do want you to know that on behalf of New York's education community, I'm hungry for your contributions, I'm hungry for your ingenuity, I'm hungry for your commitment, and above all, I am deeply humbled to be here to celebrate your success. Thank you so much.